Very excited to be here today to kind of close out the first day of school. By every indication that I have observed and what's been summarized by the team, today was an amazing day. Lots of very positive energy, lots of behind the scenes work that happened to ensure that the first day of school was successful. I could not be prouder of our team, as each person, each division has just been above and beyond in many ways to make sure that we opened up our doors with a best-in-class first impression for our students and our families. I would also be remiss if I did not lift up our parents and community members who today we have observed to be extremely patient and understanding of the first day of school, knowing that there are glitches as we open up the day and go through the day, and then most importantly as we're closing out for dismissal today. Safety obviously was a priority for us today. We saw our municipalities really rally behind our Board of Education Police Department. They put in their efforts to make sure that our students arrived safely, that any issues regarding cars and traffic were handled efficiently and effectively. It is a true testimony to together we can, together we will. In many cases, I have some additional stats to share with everyone. We have currently about 75 teacher vacancies right now. But before you write that down as a headline, I want to acknowledge the teachers that we have hired and who showed up today with a lot of energy and excitement and engagement. You could already see in almost every single classroom relationships being formed, students already diving into learning on the very first day of school. Again, today is such a great indication of what the rest of the year will be. But I do want to acknowledge we do have 75 teacher vacancies, and we're working actively to fill those vacancies. We had 197 bus drivers today to start running routes. They are the arteries of our school district. Our observations showed us this morning that our buses delivered students with very few issues arrival, but we are currently right now, as I stand before you, in the midst of dismissal. So their jobs are not done yet. I will not go to bed tonight until every single child is delivered home. Again, I ask our parents to be patient with us. This is the first time many students are on a bus. So they don't even have a bus experience. They may be on a new bus or a new driver. So we will, just to acknowledge, have glitches with transportation over the first few days, but you will begin to see that number dwindle as we move into the week. Lots of calls in today to our transportation, about 343 calls received, 256 of those were handled, and then some other issues that we need to continue to work around and work with and work through to make sure that our transportation is effective and efficient for our families. Shout out to our custodial team, our capital projects teams. They are truly the foundation. I'm not using that as a hyperbole in any way. They are the foundation and the building blocks of our schools. Again, they make sure that everything works, the systems work, HVAC works. Today was one of the hottest days of the summer. And to be fully transparent, we had a few places where the air condition was not working at its optimal level, but we deployed teams and they made sure our school stayed comfortable today so that teaching and learning could go on. But our custodial team, our project management teams, they did their jobs and they made sure that projects were completed and buildings were ready to receive students as they walked into the doors. Just a few other stats that I think might be interesting to you as you are contemplating what you want to share with our public. We have about 35,498 students enrolled. So that's right at about what we were last year. But our projected number was 35,477. So right now we're trending to be over what we enrolled last year. A little over 3,000 brand new students in our district this year, which we are excited about. We have about 748 new registrations. So those are students that maybe have not yet been entered into the system because we're waiting on address information or things of that nature to get them in our schools enrolled officially, and 206 transfers. The reason why that number is significant is, as you remember, we did a lot of boundary changes last year, and so many of our families maybe didn't understand where their home school was today and are figuring that out today. And so we have about 206 of those transfers. Again, just lots of really positive things. Over 19,000 meals served today between breakfast and lunch. So as you can see, just by some of the stats that I've shared, some of the comments I've made, we were day one ready. By every indication, and if today was any indication of what the rest of the year will be, we are in good hands with our teams, with our parents, and with our staff at school sites and at central office. I think today has been a true testament of together we can, together we will. So with that said, I'll open it up for individual questions.
So you hired over 100 plus teachers since July 22nd. That would be your day.
No.
No, we have not.
We're looking at that number. We think that may have been a discrepancy in how that was reported as an all vacancy as opposed to just teachers. So we'll get you a clarification on that. We want to make sure today
75 teacher vacancies.
One, the real actual number is 75 teacher vacancies.
All right.
We're also going to pull the total vacancy of the district, so you have both of them.
Yep.
Do you have a sense of how many are elementary then?
We'll probably have it tomorrow. I mean, literally, we're doing school by school call. How many vacancies do you have? How many vacancies do you have? So we'll probably have that number parsed out tomorrow. Other questions?
One thing, good to see you again.
Good to see you again as well.
We had a couple people calling actually our station about was the new multi-site complex. I'm sure along with the first day of school, which always has hiccups, a brand new school is going to have those hiccups. We had a couple parents calling frustrated about traffic in that area, especially this morning. I'm sure dismissal maybe as well. Is that something you're going to continue looking at, making changes?
Absolutely. Again, some of this is just typical first day of school glitches in terms of transportation. What I observed, I was at the school today, first thing this morning, 7:15, I saw our municipalities kicking in, our school board police kicking in. The principal was standing right out in front of the school directing traffic. So it was all hands on deck in terms of getting cars in and cars out and buses in and buses out safely. But yes, when you have a new facility open and a new pattern of entry and exit, there are going to be glitches. We just simply ask everyone to be patient. You'll see things normalize over the next few days, and that rhythm will become more efficient. Others?
Another clarifying point on the vacancies, we do have 16 of our 51 schools are fully staffed. 16.
Yes. I will also ask that many parents are using our transportation hotline to call in. Again, a large volume of calls received today. We know that there are wait times on those calls. Again, we ask you will see improvement day over day. I don't have any major concerns with the current volume because I think it's just very typical of a first day of school volume. But again, we just ask families to be patient. We will answer calls on a first come, first served basis. We will offer very high quality customer service with every single parent that we speak to, and just to give us some grace as it relates to volume over the first few days of school.
Parents can also go to the website too to check out our Here Comes the Bus app.
Oh,
so
yes.
Instead of being in the call queue,
You
they can get on their phone and see where the bus is on the route.
Yes, which is great, by the way.
I talked to some parents today and I've seen some comments on the parent groups online. And this might not be a direct relation to what the school district does, but I think it's important because it keeps coming up, is the options for after school, before school care. There seems to have been some major changes with the YMCA.
Yes.
Getting put on wait lists after they've already paid. I guess the question to you is, what options should families really know about that are available? When do they start? Things like the 21st Century Community learning centers? When do those come online? Where can they access
That information. I don't know that we have, do we have it?
That's on the 21st century right there.
All right, so there are 24 school sites that have the 21st century programming options this year. The flyer and registration for programming I'm assuming can be accessed online via our website. I have links here that we can get out to you if you'd like to push those links out. Only students enrolled in those 24 schools can actually attend those after-school programs. Those opportunities are elementary schools operate 5 days a week, K-8 and middle and high school operate 4 days a week, and the programming actually starts on September the 3rd for all sites. Transportation is provided for our 21st century programs, and Second Harvest provides nutritious meals. You are acknowledging parents. I also want to acknowledge the fact that that does impact our employees because many of them also use before and after school care. If we have employees at any of these 24 sites, they can choose that as a second job option if they so choose. My understanding in many of these programs is that it's a workforce issue, but these are separate programs that operate outside of SCCPSS. But we do encourage our employees, if they so choose, to pick up secondary work outside of their normal work hours. We encourage them, if they so choose, to work in any of these programs to support that workforce need.
And 21st century is not a before-school program.
It's just an after school. Yeah.
Are you able to speak to any of the safety measures that Chief Enoch had talked about back on the 22nd, particularly regarding the technology for the sensors that detect vaping and elevated
Yes.
noise and gunshots?
Yes. So today we were primarily focused on, in terms of safety, obviously traffic, getting kids to school and making sure that we didn't have any issues related to that. The second big priority today was scanning. So we have the weapon scanners at each of our schools. Based on the summary detail that I got from Chief Enoch, we had 100% of our schools today scanning kids in as they came through the doors first thing this morning. We will be looking to buy some additional detectors simply because in some cases it backs up students getting in the building. It becomes a long line, so we need to create another entryway or a pathway so that we can make those lines more efficient. Not a lot of detail on vapes and that whole new technology today. That just wasn't a big area of focus for us.
Has he indicated at all that there's been an increased usage of vape pens or vaping happening in places that they otherwise can't get access to with surveillance cameras? Or?
I am sure that there has been, and if Chief Enoch here, he could probably tell you a little bit more about it. I can tell you it is on our radar. We know it's an issue that we need to address. It just wasn't a big push for today.
One final question, kind of related to the GMAS. With slight improvements over last year, particularly at the third grade level, how are you feeling about the implementation of the new literacy curriculum that's kicking off this year?
Yes. So it is kicking off. Today was day one, and I went into classrooms today and I saw evidence of those materials being used. I saw evidence of learning. Our focus this year is to make sure that 100% of our students have access to the curriculum, that teachers are using that curriculum so that we have a equal playing field as it relates to rigor in every classroom across our schools. Obviously, we are continuing letters training. So all of that literacy is still the North Star. We are not taking our foot off the gas pedal. I think you'll see more this year as we roll out and kind of refine our efforts and make them more robust. But we are definitely taking advantage of the resources that our board approved for us to take advantage of for this school year.
Since GMAS tends to be the data point that a lot of people go to, do
Yes.
you have any data points throughout the year that are going to highlight, track progress?
Yes.
The impact of this new literacy curriculum?
Absolutely. We have KPIs that are in our strategic plan that we will be using to track performance. We also will have internal measures that we use so that we're tracking that on a more frequent internal basis and can make real-time adjustments as needed. So lots of different ways to measure progress. I think the focus right now is just to make sure that 100% of our literacy classrooms, K-12, are actually experiencing the curriculum. But the monitoring will certainly be the next step as we move forward. I think just to acknowledge the GMAS scores, we're proud of the progress that we have. I think, when we look at that number, there's a sense of pride, there's a sense of we're getting traction and momentum. So that's exciting. It breeds confidence, it breeds continuity. Let's stay the course. But we're not where we want to be, and so we have to acknowledge that too. But we know things such as increasing student achievement, for there to be true sustainability, we're not looking to have 20 and 30% jumps, because when that happens, most of the time you see that jump and then you see a regression. So the steady progress gives us a lot of optimism that we're on the right path.
I guess just to wrap up my questions, at least overall, you touched on a couple hiccups that you saw yourself, both in the classroom and outside with transportation. How would you honestly, rate how this first day went, especially as your second year on the district?
Yep. So I'm a parent. I have two sons. I would say again, I just reiterate the fact that today went as expected. That does not mean it was without issues and concerns. I don't even know what all the issues and concerns are, because as we speak, dismissal is happening. But what I can say is that you saw a department that is understaffed in many ways really come together. We have bus drivers that are running 2 and 3 routes to make sure that kids get home. And so what you see is a staff that is doing above and beyond heroic work to deliver a service to this community. And so I really don't have any disappointment or concerns. It's a work in progress. It's not where I want it to be. But it is certainly, I'm certainly optimistic about the day and what will be to come. Others?
Anybody else have anything?
Awesome.
Anytime you want to feel good, though, you just go to the school. You want to let us take you to school with those little people, and they have a dance.
The little people or Gould?
Or
Oh, no, Gould was great, but Georgetown was probably my favorite.
We had a dance party at Georgetown.
We had a whole dance party at Georgetown. So
Miss Dr. Watts doing, what was it you were doing?
I was doing the most, as the kids would say. I was doing the most today.
Oh, I got video.
Oh, you got video? I'm sure. I am exhausted, but still like adrenaline. I have so much adrenaline right now about the first day, so it's been great.
Was it A+?
It was A+.
How does it compare to the first day last year?
I will be very honest with you. Last year was my first year as a superintendent. I was just trying to take it all in, right? I did not know what to expect. This year, I did have a bar that I was trying to reach. Our team delivered on that bar. And so I'm proud of that, but I don't know that I can make a comparison, because I don't know that last year I was experiencing it from an evaluative standpoint. I was just trying to experience the city. Everything and everyone was new. So it was just new from beginning to end. This year I definitely feel like I have my hands more wrapped around it. We did a debrief with staff. What I can tell you that staff said today is that it's been the smoothest opening they have experienced in many years. I don't have that context, but that is what staff shared today. Many folks over and over. All right. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your questions. You all are such an important part of our engagement, our communication with families. Sometimes the media can create anxiety within people. You all really do not have that impression. I don't have that impression of you. I want to share that. I know I shared it last year. I want to maintain a sense of transparency. I will always share, sometimes share more than I should. But I want to acknowledge and demonstrate appreciation for each of you too, because you support us in a way that may not always be understood by folks. So thank you.